hands together, y'all. Barry D, Tommy T. We gonna have a good time tonight. Let's go, let's go. It's Old Man Sweat.
The guy fell into his knee last year.
Yeah, no, he's I'm excited about the Lakers. You know, I'm glad you're repping that sweat top today. I actually think the big lineup's going to work. I think it's going to take pressure off AD, which is going to make him even better. You know, I don't know. I mean, 3-point shooting is what it is. We'll see. But I like the big lineup. I think what they're thinking is we just got to make the playoffs. And right now, it's funny. Like, you look at the standings, they're only like 3 games out in the loss column to go up to number 5.
I saw that the Clippers are number 5, and they got 1 less loss than the Lakers. The Lakers had 26 losses. I think the Clippers got like 24 or 25. It's ridiculous. Like the Lakers.
Yeah.
If the Lakers go on a run where they could win, 16 to 20 games or something like that, they'll move right into playoff contention, And then the other thing is this: all they got to do is get to spot 10, because if they show up in that play-in with a healthy lineup,
forget
then
it.
Let's go. Let's see.
And that's what they're building for. They figured, like, look, we can't get enough 3-point shooters. We can't play that game. We're going to go big. And if we play you in the playoffs, okay, you want to play LeBron, AD, these other big guys, they're gonna cause havoc. I think it's a good strategy. I like it.
Well, they needed a little more height, because they have that one guy, Wenyen Gabriel, who, he's limited. I mean, he looks like one of those horses that just learned how to walk.
But but I like him. He hustles. I like his energy. He's got good energy. He's a spark plug. Yeah. So anyway, that's a good little. We got right in there because I got excited the other day. I know we talked a little bit about it. You come up with the Lakers thing. We got to do it, but let's get to the show, because it's the NFL. So hello everybody. Old Men of Sweats here. Barry D is my buddy Tommy T, and this is our program brought to you by Believe Network. Hashtag we believe. Hashtag do you believe? And hashtag you should believe in the Old Men of Sweats. I don't know if that's really a hashtag though. That's too long, isn't it, for a hashtag?
Listen, buddy, this show, I think that this show is going to go down as the I Believe in Burrow show. I'm believing in Burrow.
All right. Because I was trying to figure out the hashtag, and they got good hashtags, Believe Network. We believe, do you believe, with the BLEAV? And I'm thinking, well, you should believe in Old Men of Sweats. That's too long to type. Who's going to type that?
Yeah.
I got to think of a better one. That's no good. I'm sorry, that's no good. But anyway, so let's get right to the sweaty hit list. But first, I want to just go back to a senior health check, because I know you had your hernia surgery last week. We talked about it, and I just wanted to get another update on that, please.
Yeah, I'm good to go, buddy. I did yoga the other day. I'm going to do a yoga class tomorrow. I'm going to do a Yoga Express 45-minute hot yoga class tomorrow, and then I'm going to do Sunday. I'm going to do the boot camp. I'm going to do the boot camp, the Pilates core boot camp. So I'm almost 100% back. I just have a little pain down in the lower groin area, but that's nothing. I had that, ever since I tore my groin like 32 years ago. The pain.
So you've been cleared, like doctor, like in professional sports, you got to get cleared. You've been cleared to move on to these activities.
Yeah, I'm good. And I golfed. I golfed yesterday. I golfed the last 3 days. I golfed yesterday. I was at the range the day before, and I golfed on Monday. So yeah, I'm good.
Wow. Okay. All right.
But we tell you this all the time, though. I'm always doing these ridiculous classes. I've been doing 200 classes a year for the last 10 years. So at the end of the year, on my app, at my workout studio, on my app, it says how many classes I've always gotten in 200 in the last month of the year. So, when we get these injuries, my recovery time isn't as long as if I was doing nothing. Like one of my buddies at the casino last night, my buddy, one of the dealers, the Fertitta guy, he was telling me that, he's got a problem with his back, and went to the chiropractor, and the chiropractor wanted to do a whole series of, MRIs and imaging to find out if there's any broken bones. Right. And so he went in and he got all this imaging and stuff, and he found that his hip is bone on bone. He said that there's no more cartilage, and I guess it's rubbing a bone on bone. And then he said he also has his opposite shoulder his left shoulder is a bone-on-bone thing. And, you know, and it's good that, you know, the doctors are making sure they find out where he's at. But I told him, I said, you know, everybody our age is bone on bone. Like, are you kidding me? Like, the doctors, they come out with this information like it's, like it's this, you know, this thing that you can't believe this, you know, it's like this wow thing. You got a bone on bone. I guarantee you, your knee's bone on bone. There's no cartilage left in your knee. No, it's shredded. It's all bone on bone. The thing is, I was telling my buddy, you got to get moving. Like, you got to start moving around, you know, like, because the more you move, the more you get that blood flowing, the easier that bone on bone is going to age.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I agree.
If you just sit around, so, you know, like these, you know, you gotta keep it going. You know, you got to keep it going 100%. Do
me a favor. Check your internet thing again, because you're foggy. You weren't foggy, and now you've been foggy. I can hear you fine. Just see, like, hit the signal. You know, sometimes you, like, re-hit it. I don't know. I'm just
foggy. Visually foggy? Or
just visually. Audio, you're good. It looks like you're in a fog. It looks like you got a cold.
Huh. You mean the lighting?
No, the lighting's fine. It's like your whole visual is foggy, like the internet's not strong or the camera's doing something. I'm just trying to see.
The internet's good. Everything is like
all right. Everything's
full bars.
Yeah,
I mean, I know, like, I could see there's a different light when I'm moving up and down.
All right, maybe try that.
You know,
try to lower it a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see if I can get more light here. Hold on one second.
Oh, you think it's okay?
No, that's nothing.
All right, that's cool. We'll just hit it.
I like that foggy thing. Like, yeah, the foggy's a good word for us.
Yeah. It was like foggy, like, you know, someone like broke a piece of the glass of the camera. It's never been this way. It's like usually you're very clear.
No,
you were very clear when you came on, and then when you started talking, and the Lakers talk, and then when you started talking that, it got foggy.
Yeah, no, I'm on the computer. I'm not on the iPhone.
No, I know. All right, so that's cool. So you got cleared. You know, your health check to, you know, just go back. Like, you had the hernia operation last week. For people that didn't listen or watch last week, you got through that. You've got cleared by the doctors, like professional doctors that have cleared you now to move on to hot yoga, boot camp. You already had a little golf. You did a little golf, and you're going to go right back in.
I'm walking every day.
You're walking every day. See, I do
the old man walk. I do all the old guy stuff. You know, like,
see, you're clear now.
Yeah.
It's very clear now. See, you know what it is? I always say this, the internet and everything, it is what it is, the internet. It's always like, it goes and comes back, and it's just the way it is. You are exactly how you were when you first came in now, see?
I don't know.
And you didn't do no adjustment.
No.
And you did no adjustment. The only thing...
I don't even know what to adjust.
Exactly. Like, what are you going to adjust? Because back in the day, the internet was me and you would talk together. Like, you had to go see the person.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm glad you're on the way back. Like, today, my thing is, you know, being here in New York until I get over to Vegas is, you know, the winter. When the winter comes, it's really interesting. Like, the cold comes, and it's not so much that the cold bothers me because I can put more clothes on, right? But it messes with your head. It makes like you get like sinus headache stuff.
Oh, really? I didn't know
like,
that.
It feels like your head's like a big balloon and it's about to burst. And no matter what I take, you know, I have to take allergy pills anyway. And you know, but no matter what else I take, if I try to take something on top of that to relieve the pressure, you know, like there's all these, you know, sinus headache things out there and migraines, and none of it works. I just walk around like with a bit, like I feel like my head is like those big hats.
No,
you know, those stupid, you know, like
you've been taking pills for 30 years. I don't even know half the time. I don't even know what pills you're taking.
I don't even, you know, it's a lot of nonsense. I think
that pills those pills don't work. The pharmaceutical industry, they make billions of dollars off of just saying, yeah, you need to take this pill.
Yeah, well, maybe they should sponsor us. Like, I could get like a, you know, Claritin or, you know, or some other kind of thing, you know, like, you know, just give us a little something to hawk it.
Yeah.
I mean, because that would probably make my head feel better if we were, you know, getting a little something from like Squib. Remember, that gigantic medical company Squib. All right, so let's move on here. Enough of our ailments or our recoveries, right? Or because there's going to be future things, like tomorrow something's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Wake up with a different pain.
Yeah, a different pain will happen. So let's get right into the NFL Championship weekend. Let's recap first anything that you want to recap from the San Fran Dallas game or the Cincy Buffalo game.
Well, Buffalo had Cincy right where they wanted them. Buffalo plays the whole season to have home field advantage because Buffalo is just like the old Metropolitan Stadium with the Vikings. Remember the Vikings? The reason the Vikings made it to those 4 Super Bowls early on is because the Vikings used to host that game at Metropolitan Stadium in a blizzard, and the Rams used to go up there and they couldn't win up in Minnesota, right? So that's why Minnesota made it to the Super Bowl every year, and that's why they got killed every year in the Super Bowl, because it was always in a warm weather climate and they were never big enough or fast enough, and they always got blown out of the Super Bowl. And Buffalo, the same thing. Buffalo went to those 4 Super Bowls years ago because they had all those home games in Buffalo, and they had the weather, and the team could handle the weather. They were used to it, and so they beat Miami up there. They beat the Raiders up there in the AFC Championship game. So that's why those warm weather teams, same thing with the Denver Broncos when John Elway was there, they had a huge home field advantage up in Mile High Stadium, and they won all those AFC Championship games. So Buffalo, Denver, and Minnesota, they were all together. They were like 0-11.
0-12. 0-12.
0-12? Okay, so they were 0-12 before Elway finally won the 2 games. They were 0-12. So Buffalo did exactly what they wanted to do. They had the home game in Buffalo, and they had Cincinnati come up to Buffalo, right? And they sucked. Like I know they have a lot of injuries. Of course, that has to be acknowledged. On defense, they have a lot of injuries. They lost Von Miller. They lost one of their safeties. And then they lost the backup safety, DeMar Hamlin, to that tragedy. You guys going to be okay. So they have a lot of injuries.
But so did Cincinnati on the offensive line.
Well, yes, everyone has injuries this time of year. So Buffalo comes in and they got the game right where they want it, and they fell behind and they had nothing. So they just it was surprising. It was surprising that they got everything that they wanted all year long, because remember last year Buffalo lost the playoff game in Kansas City in overtime. So this year their goal was, let's get home field advantage. Let's have the playoffs run through Buffalo, and and then we'll end up in the Super Bowl. And they had exactly what they wanted, and they played a terrible game. Their quarterback didn't play well at all. Josh Allen hasn't played well the second half of the year. He's going through the same thing that the Cowboys quarterback, Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott played a terrible game against the Niners.
And how can you play so good the week before and then so terrible? I know it's a different matchup, but it just seems like, how can you go from so good that week before to so bad?
Well,
I know it's different. It's a different.
No, that's Dak Prescott. That's who Dak is. Dak, he played when he's in good rhythm and he's playing a weak defense, he looks really good. You put him up against a weak defense, he usually looks excellent. Yeah. But the Niners are not a weak defense, even though they were beatable. The Niners were beatable Sunday. I mean, there was open receivers. Orlovsky broke down film and Kurt Warner broke down film. There were receivers opened, and Dak didn't either didn't throw it to them or he missed them. 3 minutes to go on second down. Gallup was 30 yards downfield behind his defender, 2 steps ahead of his defender, and Dak missed him. He threw it behind him. So he just plays bad against a tough defensive team. And it's funny because Dak and Josh Allen played lousy games. Terrible. And you're not gonna win when Purdy didn't turn the ball over again, even though he should have. He got lucky. And Burrow's excellent. So it's funny, but Josh Allen, he's more highly regarded than Dak. The NFL people, they consider Josh Allen to be a top 5 quarterback.
Burrow, Mahomes, and Allen. Those are the top 3.
Yeah, that seems to be the 3. And then Hurts, obviously Jalen Hurts has moved into that area this year because he's going to get he's going to win the MVP. So these guys are the top quarterbacks. And Allen's a great runner. I mean, he's an amazing runner.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good quarterback. He's in a different category than Dak, but in the playoffs, they were the same. Josh Allen hasn't been better than Dak this year, and Dak's not any good. Like
that, and weather is weather. Like CINCY plays in bad weather. Buffalo, obviously, that was their home field. They played it. Josh Allen's played at Wyoming. He's played at really bad weather with wind, like really bad. Yeah. It was really weird, though. It was almost like Cincinnati knew how to play better in the conditions. Like I didn't get it. It was like so unbelievably weird. And I think just Buffalo choked. I mean, I'm honestly, all the Bills Mafia guys are going to kill me, but it looked like they got so nervous when they got behind. Yeah. And they just pressed it so hard. Yeah. And if it didn't happen like immediately, they were done. It was just a choke job.
What was the final? I don't even remember the final score of that game, but they lost by like 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, let me look because I forgot too. It was like a joke, the game. Yeah, I mean, they tried so many times to come back. It was so hilarious, and they just kept making mistake after mistake. 27-10.
Yeah, so that game wasn't even close. The Cowboys game was 9-9. Late third quarter or early fourth quarter, 9-9.
Yep.
And then the Niners scored the go-ahead touchdown to go up 16-9, and then they kicked off, and the Cowboys returner broke it out in the open, and he ran into the guy, didn't cut it outside. Yeah. So that game was really close. Dak screwed them. The Cowboys got screwed by their quarterback. I know a lot of the Cowboy fans, you know, they're big Dak supporters and they love him, and they blame the offensive coordinator. It amazes me. You go in these chat rooms and they're all blaming the offensive coordinator, and not one of them ever played football. No one knows what the offensive coordinator even calls. No one knows anything about a play. They just watch the game and they go, the offensive coordinator sucks. It's not Dak's fault. It's the offensive coordinator. You don't even know what you're talking about. Nobody knows what the offensive coordinator is calling or what kind of play design he has or how he's attacking the offense. But it's easy to see the quarterback, Dak, doesn't have it.
Was there anything within the Dallas thing about their kicking game that was mentally screwing with them? Like, you know, like was that part of it?
No, I mean, the kicker made 2 field goals. That had nothing to do with the game. The kicker made both field goals, and Dallas went for it on 4th down a couple times, which they would have anyway. Like, you know, like it's better that they went for it on 4th down, and they made the 4th down. That's how they scored their touchdown. They went for it on 4th and 4. So the kicking had nothing to do with it. The other thing is
he missed the extra point, right? That's it.
Yeah, he missed the extra point. So they would have lost 19-13 instead of 19-12.
Yeah, because I was talking to a couple Dallas fans, and they were like, that one time they had the ball, and it was they should have kicked a field goal. It was like 3rd and 8. But they went for it, you know, that one time that they went for it, and they didn't make it. And they were saying, you know, because they were worried about the guy. And I'm like, if they were that worried about the guy, they probably would. The other guy they brought in, that kicker from Tampa Bay a while back, they would have just kept him on the team and let him kick. Like they wouldn't.
There was nothing to worry about with the guy. He had one bad game. Like they weren't worried about him.
Yeah.
Like they did.
What do they call that guy? What do they call him?
What do you mean?
What's his nickname, the kicker?
Money Maher.
I like that.
Money Maher.
Where did he go to college, that guy? I like him. I like that.
He went to Nebraska.
Oh, really? I like that.
But he spent years in the Canadian Football League.
Oh, okay. All right. So that, you know, both those games were interesting games. You're right. The Buffalo-Cincinnati game was a complete weird, you would never expect it blowout. It was a blowout. And it was like Buffalo never played in the snow before. It was like, what are we doing? And then Dallas comes in there and they didn't play. Dak didn't play good, and they still had a chance, and they screwed it up.
Yeah, no, Dallas can't beat that team. Their Dallas quarterback, he's not gonna win a playoff game. As long as Dak is quarterbacking for the Cowboys, they're not going to win anything. He's not good enough. They need a quarterback. They would have been better. The Cowboys would have been better off if Dak sprained his ankle, not seriously, but just sprained his ankle, and they had to play somebody else. They'd have been better off. They would have had a better chance to win if they played somebody else.
Yeah, they choked. They choked too. They had a chance.
Yeah,
and they choked. And Buffalo though. And Diggs went crazy on the side. Like I knew he was going to do that. That's what he did in Minnesota when he didn't get the ball. He would be upset. He wanted out of there. Well, he got his wish. He got out of there, and he thought he was going to win a Super Bowl by now. and he doesn't have anything. But sometimes these guys too, they got to understand where they are and what place they're in and what moment it is. The way the world is now, people just do whatever they want whenever they want. And you know what? You got to think about the consequences. Or you got to think about what's going on at that moment. When Josh Allen was sitting down, he knows he's playing like crap. He knows the whole team's playing like crap. He's not happy about it. You don't have to go over there and go, he knows it's not, and it's not all his fault. I don't know. Like sometimes these guys do things and it's like, that's not a good thing to do. That's your teammate. Relax. He knows, right? Go talk in the tent. Well, go in the,
The excuse is that, they always say, well, I'm a passionate player.
Oh,
it's a passionate
yeah.
game, and the emotions. That's always the excuse. But I always felt like when you reach the highest level of your profession, like the NFL, that requires the most discipline, the most emotional, and the most mental discipline. So obviously it's an emotional game, and obviously you're going to lose your temper once in a while, whatever it may be. But the higher you go, the more control you should have.
Yeah.
So, so now, Stefon Diggs is a great player, has been a great player for years. And now he's elevated his game, he's at the highest level. And now he's in the playoffs. You're at an even higher level. You're in the playoffs. This is where you want to be even more emotionally disciplined. This is where you want to talk to yourself and say, I got to play with passion. I got to play with fire. But I have to make sure that I'm not losing my cool and lashing out at my teammates. And I'm always amazed that athletes don't have more discipline at this level. Like Stefon Diggs doesn't have a lot of emotional discipline, or else he wouldn't have been doing that, because it doesn't help the team. Like the receivers that have been doing this for years, Des Bryant used to lose his mind on the sidelines for the Cowboys.
Ocho.
Terrell Owens, I remember there was one video, NFL Films video from years ago, where Terrell Owens was livid with Steve Young, and Steve Young followed him up and down the sidelines going, Terrell, T.O., T.O., yo, T.O., yo, T.O. And he was like screaming and yelling, and Steve Young wouldn't leave him alone. Kept going, T.O., yo, T.O., yo, T.O. So these guys have been losing their cool on the sidelines forever. Andre Rison, all these guys, some of the guys aren't even any good. They lose their mind. It doesn't help the team. You're not.
No, and I get the idea of being.
The receiver is not going to later say, "Hey, listen, I got emotional and I went over and I fired up the offense and we won the game." It doesn't work like that.
No, and I get the idea about being passionate and sometimes then your emotions go, but then also you got to harness that. They all know that, because if you're too crazy on the field, you could motivate yourself and use some of that internally. But you can't be too much. And it seemed like Diggs, he was just too much. And it was like, you guys were playing a bad game. Everyone was playing a bad game. And then to leave and get your stuff, and before the coach comes and abandon everyone and leave, like you win as a team, you lose as a team. They say that all the time. And he's like leaving, like where you going? It's snowing out. It's Buffalo. Where you going? Like stop. Yeah, and so the Buffalo fans, I feel for them because I'm a Viking fan. And I agree with you completely about your assessment about the 12 Super Bowls, because I tell people that all the time, even young kids, and they're like, what are you talking about? I go, all three of those teams had a huge advantage at home. I don't know how many of those 12 Super Bowl appearances they had the championship game at their home field. I bet you it was 10 at least, if not more.
I know that Denver won an AFC championship game in Cleveland. Right? They stole it in Cleveland.
That's one.
But I think Buffalo won all four in Buffalo.
And the Vikings did too.
Yeah, I think they won all four in Buffalo. They may have won one on the road. Yeah, the Vikings beat the Rams every year in Minnesota.
Because the Vikings couldn't win on the road. They go to Dallas, they'd get beat. They would get beat anywhere else they would go. Yeah. So I always tell kids, and they're like, so now I want to say something about the Buffalo one. I mean, we basically recapped it that Dallas blew it, and they did, and they deserve it. And I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to, what are they going to do with Dak? Is it going to be still Dak?
They're going to do nothing with Dak, because he's got a contract. He's got a contract which bumps up to like $50 million this year. So what they might even do is they might even extend him further, like we talked last week about.
Yeah, like Cousins, and
they might extend him further so they could spread out his money and lower his cap hit. The Cowboys are married to Dak, And that's the kind of marriage where there's no divorce. Like they're not divorcing Dak. They're stuck with him, which means they're not going to win. As long as Dak's their quarterback, they won't win. They won't be in a Super Bowl with Dak. Dak's shown who he is. He's let him down in every way imaginable. Interceptions, bad reads, like not hitting the open receiver. They're not going to win with Dak, so the Cowboys won't win.
Yeah, and
Buffalo still could win because I believe Josh Allen is still an ascending player.
Yeah, and now let me ask you this. Do you think fans in Buffalo are like, okay, timeout. Maybe our team is built for speed, especially on offense, and maybe we don't care about the home field advantage of the cold weather anymore, and maybe the new stadium, we put a roof on it.
They're not putting a roof on it. They're not going to do that.
I don't know about that.
They're not going to do that. That's stupid, and no, Buffalo's right there. Like Buffalo's good. Buffalo could beat Kansas City. They could beat Cincinnati. Buffalo's good. They had some injuries and they didn't play a good game. Dallas is different. Dallas isn't as good. They're not as good as the Niners or the Eagles. They're not going to beat those teams in a playoff game. So, I think Buffalo could still come up and win. I don't think Dallas can. They're not in that level. So there's a big difference.
And do you think a lot of this, okay, because I'm going to go back to, I was watching Stephen A. and what's that guy? Some other guy. It's not Mad Dog, some other guy, but Bart Scott was on there again. He actually had a good point. He said, look it is what it is. If you can get a good rookie quarterback and get him within those 5 years and build around him and spend the money around him, like a Joe Burrow, everyone says it because he actually said, he goes, you got Burrow, and he goes, Mahomes is a little different animal, but he said, Dak's going to always be a problem because he's going to, like Cousins, it's just, they take too much money. And unless you're Brady and you'll take less, it screws up the whole thing, really, after.
He's right and he's wrong. He's right. Yeah. Simple math will dictate that, of course. Dak's going to he's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of $50 million against the cap this coming season. So, of course, simple math says you can't go out and get some free agents. So he's right in that sense. He's also wrong. You can win with a big paid quarterback. The Cowboys have a highly paid quarterback. If their quarterback played well, they'd be winning. They'd be going to the Super Bowl. So he's wrong. They had more than a good enough team to win. The Cowboys' defense was good. Their special teams were good. Their team was good. Their quarterback let them down. So I agree. I hear Bart Scott, and everyone says that. They all say that. It's a simple explanation. It's not complicated. Everyone is always talking about, if you got your rookie quarterback on his rookie deal, you're going to be better. Not necessarily. I know a lot of teams that are on a rookie deal with their quarterback, and they still suck. And I know a lot of teams that have been paying Aaron Rodgers and all these other guys a ton of money, and they're good. So
you know why they're saying it, T? Because there's 3 of the 4 are under that. You got Burrow, you got Brock, Purdy came in as the third stringer, but Mahomes is the only one, right, that already got a big payday. So that's why they're saying it too. But
look at it this way: next year, Hurts and Burrow they're gonna spike up to $40 million a year. Those teams aren't going to be suddenly bad. What do you think? You think Cincinnati's going to let Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Sam Hubbard, and Hendrickson? You think they're going to let all those guys walk? They're going to figure out a way to keep their main guys. Next year, when Philly pays Hurts, they're not going to be bad all of a sudden because Hurts is getting $40 million. And the other thing is, for someone to say that someone should take less money, he shouldn't. Dak shouldn't take less money. Dak should get the most money he can make. You know why? Dak's responsibility isn't to build the team. When you're negotiating your contract, give me what's the market? Oh, that's the market. I want that. You don't say, oh wait, let me look at the whole team and make sure that get out of here. That's your job, Jerry Jones. That's the general manager's job. You figure out the team. I just figure me out. You know what I mean? I don't buy that. I don't.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's like everybody's I think they're just talking all about it now because 3 of the 4 quarterbacks are it's that kind of scenario. Yeah, but you're right; it's not always true. And like you said too, it doesn't mean like next year that then their team sucks. Well, it's
the kind of thing like this, buddy. For years, they talk about the NBA. you know, they talk about how it's fixed, and they say that the referees in the NBA always want the series to go 7 games because there's more money, right? And then I broke down the last 30 NBA finals, and I showed you how few of them actually go 7 games. You know, like the Bulls won 6 NBA finals, not one of them went past 6 games. One of them went 5 games. You know, like the Lakers, the Lakers won 3 NBA finals in a row. I think they were 3 sweeps and one was no, there were 2 sweeps and one was 6 games. If you look at all of the NBA finals, Larry Bird won 3 NBA championships. He won 2 in 6 games, 1 in 7 games. So everyone always says that there's an argument. Oh, you know, like if you know the NBA wants 7 games, that's why the referees fix the games. Well, the numbers don't support that. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Most of the NBA finals are way less than 7 games. It's the same thing with this. You know, you're like, well, you know, the teams that have the quarterback on the rookie contract, it's easier to put the team together. Bullshit. I bet you if you look at the last 15 years, I'll bet you the teams that are in the Super Bowl have Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, Peyton Manning. They're all making $45 million a year.
Yeah, and then the other thing was the Buffalo coach. I don't know if he's a defensive coordinator.
Well, he was a defensive coordinator at Carolina.
No, but there's another coach that he was on. They were interviewing him, and he was like, you know, well, their thing is different than our Cincinnati. You know, our cap thing's a lot different because of Diggs and
about, like, the other thing is, as a coach, a player, a general manager, don't ever talk about your cap. Don't ever be open about your cap with anyone. Don't make it the top of the conversation. Well, the thing says, "Hey, what about your cap?" So you know what? It doesn't matter. My team is my team.
Well, the thing what he said was so stupid. He said at the end, he goes, I want to suck as long as they sucked to get where they are. And I'm like, you sucked. You guys sucked. You guys sucked for a long time, and you got draft picks.
You remember the beginning of the movie? Remember Hoosiers? Remember the movie Hoosiers? The beginning of the movie when Gene Hackman was trying to install his system with the players, and they weren't buying it at the beginning. Remember that one kid?
I love it.
Remember he wasn't taking the three passes. Remember 3 passes?
Yeah, 3 passes first.
So he would just dribble down and shoot because he was just fed up. The kid, he was a kid and he was frustrated. So he went down, he shot, he made a basket, right? And then he looked at the coach, he ran on the court. The next time down, he went down, he grabbed the ball, shot, and made a basket. He looked at the coach. And so Gene Hackman said, okay, all right, okay. So call timeout, and he took the kid out of the game, right? Later in the game, the rest of the team fouled out, and there was only 4 players on the court, and the kid got up to go back into the game. And Gene Hackman says, "Where are you going? Sit down." Right? And then the referee came over, and he said, "Coach, you only got 4 players. You need one more player." And the coach said to the referee, he goes, "My team is on the court."
Yes, I love that.
Okay, my team is on the court. Well, that's what you use when someone asks the coach or the general manager or a player about the cap situation and how it's better to configure it. You just say, "Look, my team's on the field. That's my team."
Yeah, don't make excuses. That's my team.
I'm not gonna talk to you about who's making what. That's my team on the field. If you want to listen, if you're a journalist and you want to have at the way my cap is being broken down, go at it. But I'm not discussing that with you. Like, my team's on the field. And,
all right.
Listen, the Cowboys are paying Dak a lot of money, and they're paying Ezekiel Elliott a lot of money. They're overpaying both of them.
Sure.
That team was good. That team was more than good enough to win.
Yeah.
If Dak played well, they would have won. They didn't lose because Dak's
making a lot of money. At the end of the day, I want to move on soon. Really, at the end of the day with Dak, he just needs to play more consistently.
Yeah. He's just not good enough. The big mistake with the Cowboys isn't that they're paying Dak $40 million a year.
No,
it's that he's not good enough.
On a consistent basis. Yeah,
he's not good enough.
Yeah. All right. All right. So let's move on now to this week. Obviously, the NFL championship games, and we'll do our bookie beatdowns at the end. But let's review the games, analyze the games. Let's go right to the first one. Let's go to the Philadelphia San Fran. That's the first game on Fox at 3 o'clock, I think. So let's go into that game first. San Fran at Philly.
Okay. Listen, I love the way you construct the show, like the show segment based, right? You got the.
I want to show you what I got here. I got my dinner. I got a French dip. A French dip from the diner.
Wow!
I'm dipping. Look, I'm dipping it. See,
it's amazing, man.
That
looks delicious. Mm-hmm. That looks delicious, buddy. Crazy kid.
No. and I got onion rings instead of French fries.
Yeah, look at you. That's good.
That goes. It's like a surf and turf almost.
That's good. That's good for you. What? That was what movie was that from? Midnight Run. Remember Midnight Run?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he goes.
He said, listen, I'm gonna get you get the steak, I'm gonna get the lobster. He goes, I'm gonna get a little surf and turf action. Remember he did this?
Yeah, it was Charles Grodin.
Charles Grodin, yeah.
Grodin. They were doing that, right? Yeah. Why did you get that? That's a great movie. I'm gonna watch that again.
That's a great movie. That movie is never.
So I got a French dip.
Well, so listen, I want to go back. I love the way you set things up with the segment. It's a segment-oriented show, and it's well organized. And we're in the section right now where it's the bookie beatdown, right? I don't know where we came up with that name, but that's a good name. The bookie beatdown. So now we gotta make our picks for these coming games.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna get a quick overview before we get into the specifics. I'm just gonna tell you, don't bet these games.
Oh my God! What do you mean?
Well, how do you pick a winner with these games? I mean, come on.
No,
you got the Niners going into the Eagles. You got that Jalen Hurts. He's kind of injured. You know, Brock Purdy's a rookie. You know, I mean, you're going to.
No, you got a good point because I want to go back just quickly before we go forward on last week's picks. And you picked two really good picks that were really hard picks to pick. You picked the lock, which was Dallas San Fran under. A lot of people had that. But then you picked Dallas Giants under too. And I'm going to tell you something. Anyone out there,
you mean Eagles Giants?
I'm sorry, Eagles Giants.
But didn't it go under? It was 35-7.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to say is that was amazing because there is nobody out there, 9.9 out of 10 people. There's no way they picked the Jags plus the points, the under in the Kansas City game, Philly minus the points and the under there. I think people probably picked Philly and the over. And then you got to the Buffalo game, and I'm sure a lot of people picked the Bills and the over. You know, and then you had the final game, the Dallas. There were a lot of people on Dallas and the under. It was very difficult last week. So I get what you're saying, getting to your point, like don't bet this week. I don't know what to do. I don't want to do nothing. I get you. How can you pick? Actually say.
You know, look at gambling is the biggest part of the NFL. Like that's why there's a team here in Vegas now. Right? Yeah. Because gambling's okay. That's why everyone's got an app on their phone. Everyone bets on all the football games, all the fantasy football games. Gambling's a big thing. You cannot tell me that you're coming into this weekend and like I know I got this. Like you don't know. There's no way I know. These teams are all good. They're really good teams. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that in Cincinnati and KC, like Mahomes is really injured. He's really injured. He's not a little injured. He's really injured because Tony Romo said it best later in that game. He said, you know, when you blow your ankle out, you can play that game. Like you can play. That game is the easiest game to play. The next day you wake up, your ankle's this big. You're playing nowhere. And Tony said, I wouldn't be surprised if Mahomes doesn't even play next week.
And he knows. He's a quarterback.
He knows. Everyone knows. Mahomes, and here's the last thing. Mahomes' biggest asset is his mobility more than his arm. He's got a great arm, but his mobility is his biggest asset. So that's taken away. I don't care how much you shoot up Mahomes' ankle. I don't care how much you shoot it up. I don't care how much you ice it. I don't care what you do all week long. He's not going to move well in that game.
So let me say something about that.
It's going to be all over him.
There's videos out there after a press conference he was at, and he walked off and went down the podium and down the stairs, and he no limp and all this, and people are like, "Oh, no limp and all this," and then there's you know he's saying, "I'm going to play. I'm feeling really good," and all this, and everybody, and you know the line actually changed. And you know, initially Cincinnati
after they saw it, right?
So now I think it's almost a pick now.
Yeah.
Or maybe even KC's going to be, if it continues the stories that are going, KC may be even favored by a point. But right now, I think it's a pick or KC's +1. But it started at Cincinnati -2.5 or 3. You know, and that was because they didn't know Mahomes was going to play. And I think what Romo said, I remember him saying that, and I'm like, you know, this guy knows. And everyone's going to try to turn a good story out of it because they want people to watch the game and they want it to be a competitive game. But who knows what happens? Like you said, his mobility is everything. And if his mobility is limited, forget about his game won't be as good. let's just think about he won't be able to move as well, and someone might get him again.
Well, you're right. You're right. But the other thing is this: even when he's 100% healthy, he's still not good enough to beat the Bengals. They still beat a healthy Mahomes. I mean, keep in mind, like the Bengals have no problem playing Mahomes. They beat him.
They beat him 3 times.
And here's the other thing. The other thing is this.
Yeah, good point.
Andy Reid. Andy Reid's an excellent coach.
I
wouldn't be surprised if Andy Reid is already working Chad Henne into the operation. I wouldn't be surprised if he's planning on playing Henne some packages, because when Henne comes in, he never embarrasses himself. He always gets some crazy first down. Like, I don't even know how he does it. The one time he ran like 18 yards for a first down last year in a playoffs game. So it's not like they got a bad backup quarterback, right? People don't remember Chad Henne is from Michigan, right? He's been in the league for like 10, 15 years. He started all 4 years at Michigan for Lloyd Carr. Chad Henne's played a lot of football.
Well, the funny thing is, he's a professional. He's in the NFL. To make the NFL, come on, like Purdy too. Purdy, he could have been the last pick. I don't care if he was the last pick. The guy's in the National Football League.
Yeah.
How do you make that?
Well, I told you last week, the Purdy's Mr. Irrelevant, which makes you and I Mr. Double Irrelevant. Like,
invisible. We're like invisible. It's like,
I hate that. If you're calling an NFL quarterback who's in the NFC Championship game Mr. Irrelevant, then that kills the rest of us.
I know, it crushes all of us. All right. So I like what you're saying about KC. I think you're right about Reid. He's not dumb. He's going to do that.
He's going to do everything. He's gonna have plays where you hike the ball to Kadarius Toney. He's gonna have all these packages where they're gonna be doing all kinds of things, to compensate for Mahomes being, less than 100%.
So you're not confident though by doing that if Mahomes goes out completely or he doesn't, and they have Henne come in to do this, they can't compete with Cincinnati?
Well, yeah, because these games are always close between these two teams.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's won 3 in a row, but they're always really tough games. Cincinnati played a great game last week. They're obviously super confident. They're going to come in confident, as they should be. But Cincinnati still has the 3 backup linemen, right? Although that Jackson Carman guy replaced Jonah Williams last week and blew the Bills off the line of scrimmage.
Well, but the Bills' pass rush is as good as
the running game. Cincinnati, they switch gears on you. They ran the ball. So Cincinnati is going to try to run the ball against Kansas City. They run the ball more than you think.
Yeah, they do.
Have 2 running backs. They got the Mixon and they got Samaj Pirine.
I like that guy.
Yeah, and I say the names for you, buddy, because
how do you say that again?
Samaj.
And what's his last name?
S-A-M-A-J-E. Pirine. P-E-R-I-N-E.
Pirine. Where's that guy from? Where's he from?
I think Oklahoma. He played Oklahoma.
Pirine.
Yeah.
What is that? What nationality? What is that? Pirine.
I don't know. He's Italian. He's 100% Italian. Sicilian.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Pirine. I like him. So how many years? Okay. So wait a minute. So it's good. Could be a close game. It will be a close game.
Close game. Yeah.
Cincinnati is obviously favored because of Mahomes' injury.
Yeah.
But they got their number anyway. You're saying so. If you had to select a team, you would take Cincinnati, but you're not going to. You would probably just take Cincinnati straight. Like if it's -1 right now, you just take the money line and forget about laying a point, for whatever. Why would you even do it?
I would take Cincinnati. If I had to bet, buddy, I would bet Cincinnati because of Mahomes' injury. And then I would bet the Eagles because I told you before the game last week with the Cowboys, I told you that I didn't think San Francisco was that good. And I still don't think they're that good. I don't think San Francisco defense is as good as everyone thinks it is. I think the Eagles can move the ball on San Francisco. So I would take the Eagles and I would take the Bengals.
Yeah, so we went in reverse.
Games are too close.
We went in reverse, but that's okay. I wanted to talk about San Fran and the Eagles first, but then we got into the Bengals KC, which was fine. And let's continue with that. So right now, I just want to let you know I'm looking at it. The line. How can this even be? So KC's -1 now.
Yeah. Well,
and the over under is 47.
Yeah, it's gone down.
So you could take Cincinnati right now on the money line for +100. Like you lay 100, you get 100.
Yeah.
So, I mean, or you take the 1 point, but Why would you take the?
I would take the 1 point because.
Would you take that?
Yeah, I mean, no, because it might. I don't know. I mean, it's got to go up to 1.5. That half a point was a big deal here.
Yeah, you'd have to buy a half. It could be a big deal.
Yeah.
So if you want to go at it, the bet is probably Cincinnati. You take the plus 1.5. You add the extra money to get the half, or you just could take the money line and bet them plus 100. It's like even money. It's interesting. So KC. So this game went all the way from Cincinnati minus 2.5 or 3. I think it was 2.5. To KC minus 1 because of all the talk that Mahomes is fine. That's crazy.
He's not even fine.
He's not even on the injury list. He's not even on the injury list.
And like I told you, buddy, when he was 100%, he still couldn't beat Cincinnati. So it doesn't matter.
Wow. You know what they're doing? They're trying to get money on Kansas City. Because all the money in the beginning, when it was Cincinnati minus 2.5 and Mahomes got hurt, everybody bet Cincinnati, and that's why it went down. And now they're trying to get money on KC because, you got to win the juice, right? You got to have it evened out.
I don't think that it's about trying to get the money. I think that the line fluctuates all week long so they can draw 50-50 money. Like that's all they're trying to do.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, so it's just the line's going to go up and down. Like look at now it's 1, so everyone goes back to KC.
Yeah,
right. And so the line goes up to 1.5 or 2, and everyone goes back to Cincinnati. They just that's how they're just the bookies or Vegas they're just a filter. They're just filtering people in, and they're putting them in their slots. They're putting them in a 50-50 slot. That's all they're doing.
So in this game, we know the usual suspects here and the matchups and stuff. And we talked about Mahomes' injury and Henny coming in. And, Burrow's got their number, and they got a great running game. They do. They got a really good running game. I know KC's defensive line is better than Buffalo's, but where'd you go?
I had to get my water. I'm right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But what other matchup, and then we'll move on to the next game. Is there any other matchup that's an interesting matchup that could be a telling tale here that could move it one way or the other? Is there some type of, is it tone? Is it?
Well, the biggest matchup problem is obviously Kelsey. He's the best player. Kelsey's the best player on Kansas City.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Jacksonville, they weren't even near him.
No,
it was like Jacksonville's game plan is, okay, listen, like don't cover Kelsey. They're not going to throw it to him.
It's so weird.
It was like no one's near him, but Kelsey's their best player.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know that, Cincinnati's got a couple good safeties. They got that one guy, the guy that got the interception against Mahomes last year in the playoff game. I know they got that one good safety. He's got a brother in the league too. But so Cincinnati might be able to stay with Kelsey. But that's the thing. Even if Henny comes in the game, they're going to work Kelsey in the middle. Hang on,
let me look at the safeties. Which one is he? Wait a minute. You don't remember his name, huh? It's not.
I know it. I mean, I just can't think of it. He's got a brother, Justin something.
Where did he go to school?
Let me see. All you got to do is Google Bengals safety.
So they got
Bates. His name is Bates. Jesse Bates. Yeah.
So they got 2 of them though.
Yeah, they got a couple good safeties. He
went to Wake Forest, that guy.
Yeah, he went to Wake Forest.
All right, so do you think Kelsey, like they're not going to just let Kelsey run around like Jacksonville did. They're not going to do that. There's no way they'll do that. So what about Tony?
Well, he's the biggest wild card ever. I mean, he was with the Giants for 2 years and he never played, right? And then he went to KC and he had a bad hamstring the whole season. And then all of a sudden he shows up in the playoffs and he's good. Like he's really good,
So I'm wondering, like, because he would be like some wild card maybe, and he is good, that guy. And they like using him in a lot of different things.
Kansas City's not going to cover Jamar Chase, and they're not going to cover T. Higgins. Kansas City's not going to stop Cincinnati. No way. They're not covering those guys. Jamar Chase is going to get open. Who's KC got in the secondary that's going to stop that guy? They got that rookie. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and they do have a good team. God, when you think about it, they got 2 running backs. They got those 2 receivers.
They're good.
They throw to the tight end.
They got a good defense, too. They got that guy Logan Wilson on defense, that linebacker from Wyoming. I think he played with Josh Allen at Wyoming. They got the good linebacker. They got Sam Hubbard from Ohio State. And they got that guy Hendrickson.
Oh, that guy.
They got that guy Hendrickson from New Orleans. They're good. They got pass rushers.
Yeah, they're tough. You're right.
DJ Hill, they're tough. They're a tough team.
All right, so let's pick this game because we got to pick it. So I would pick Cincinnati plus the point, and I'd buy a half a point just for the heck of it. And then, if I had a bet an over under, because all those games went under last week, I would go opposite. I bet over this week.
Yeah,
47.
I don't know. I mean, because Mahomes is hurt, I don't know. Maybe he plays a good first half, but I like the over in that game. 47 is not a lot. I think Cincinnati could score 4 touchdowns by themselves, right? That's 28, So if KC could get 20 points, I think that could go over. But I think it's going to land near the line, though. That's the other thing is, you make these bets with the over-under, and if you think the game's going to go over but like only to 49 or 50 or something like that, then that's a hard bet. Like why make it? And it's the over-under for Philly's got to be much lower.
Yeah, so I see what you mean. So it's kind of like you would rather just take the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I would just take the game. I would just bet that Mahomes is hurt. Mahomes struggles against Cincinnati, and I would go Cincinnati. That's the best I could do with that game. I mean, why would I bet the over if I feel like the game's going to go to 49?
Yeah, because it is an odd thing. It could just be one like last week, and there won't be enough points by KC, and it ends up 27-17.
Yeah. What's that?
28.
That's 44 points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with Mahomes out, it is a tough over-under. So I agree with you. I'm going to take Cincinnati because I think Mahomes, even if he plays and even if he's better, that defensive line can get to him. And it's only going to take, I don't want him to get hurt again, but if his mobility is limited at all, he could be, taken out of the game again.
Yeah. No, you don't want him out. The last game they took him out, he was livid. He was throwing his helmet, and that's great. You love that.
Yeah, so unless I think Henny can come in, completely play the whole game and beat Burrow, then I can't take Kansas City.
No.
I can't do it. So all right, so let's get to that NFC game, San Fran Philly. I think this game is going to be a really good game. I don't know, like line wise. Let me look at that, but tell me what you think. Like obviously, my first thing is Philly at home. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Brock Purdy on the road. Purdy didn't play that great last week against Dallas. He was, he's going to get rushed out of the pocket like crazy this week too with Philly. And also Deebo Samuels didn't gain any yards against Dallas. McCaffrey, he gained yards late in the game when they were running out the clock, but they stopped. The Cowboys stopped San Francisco's offense, no problem.
Their defense played good. Their defense played really well.
Yeah, and so I see Philly doing the same thing. I don't think Philly's going to have a problem slowing down San Francisco's offense. And then here's the other thing. Now, if Philly can run the ball, which Dallas couldn't, but if Philly can run the ball with Hurts in that college offense that they run, they can control the clock. I think this game could go under again. I think it could be another 19-12 game like that. I think this game's going to go under. I like Philly in the under in this game. But, not by much. I don't know. I think under. Like, I like under in this game more than the over-under. Like, I couldn't pick an over-under in the other game, but in this game, I like the under. The total. I'm guessing total is probably 44 or something like that.
46.
It's 46. Okay, yeah. So it's a little lower. Only 1 point lower, though. Yeah.
It's only 1 point lower. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Because of Philly's offense, but San Fran's defense, no matter what, is good.
They're good.
Even if Debo and if Debo and McCaffrey and those guys don't do anything, or Philly slows them down even more than Dallas did, and Philly's defense is good, their secondary is really good.
Well, the other thing though is that both of these teams run. They have a ball control offense, so they take time off the clock.
Yeah.
So if these teams are doing well offensively, it'll be a fast game.
You're right.
A really fast game, because I think San Francisco and Philly both are going to run the ball down the field. So I think the game could be under. That way. I think I mean, even if there's having success.
Yeah, no, I agree.
21-20, something like that,
Yeah, and I think this week Purdy has a little harder time, even though he had a hard time last week. He's going to have a harder time against Philly against their defense. I think the difference in Philly's D is definitely that secondary. Yeah, I think they're going to pick him a couple times. They're tough.
I don't see Purdy. I don't see it. Like I know he gets a lot of credit, and they're heaping the praise on him, but he's shown me nothing. Like, he's played 7 games. He's shown me 0. Like, he's done nothing. He runs around a little bit. He gets the ball downfield. Like, okay, so what? He's a backup quarterback. And the Cowboys went into the game with a backup quarterback. Like, Dak played like a backup quarterback. So that's why they lost. Like, if you play San Francisco and you got a starter at quarterback and you got a good quarterback, you beat them. You'll beat them.
Now, what would you do? The line, the Philly line, the line, the spread is Philly -2.5.
Yeah,
or you can bet the money line.
That's not really a spread. That's not. I mean, the spread is Philly -3 to begin with, right? So they're just dropped at a half a point. So there's really no line on this game. It's really like a pick 'em.
Yeah, because you can bet, like, you could take Philly -2. You definitely want to buy the half a point, or you could just take the money line at -145 to win 100.
Yeah.
So usually it's 110 to win 100 if it's an even Steven, but I almost would just. Because I always think it's weird. Like, if you bet down the half a point to 2 and the game ends on 1, because it's going to be a close game. Would it end on 1? Probably not. It probably would end more on 3. But, to bet -2 and probably have to take 120 or 125, -125, 120 to get the down to the 2, you might as well just bet. It's only $35 more if you think about betting 110 to win 100. It's 145 to win 100. Just take that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just make it easy, right? Like you said, just make it a pick 'em.
Remember when we used to bet in LA in the 90s and Manny T used to hate the way you always hedged your bet.
Yep.
Right. Remember, you used to bet team, and you bet the parlay with the over, and you used to always have these things. And Manny started calling you 2 + 2 is 4. Remember, Manny? He used to go, "You're 2 + 2 is 4." Like, and he said 2 + 2 is 4, 3 + 1 is 4, 4 + 0 is 4. It's all you do. He said, he used to call you 2 + 2 is 4.
He was right.
Yeah, no,
he was right.
Yeah, he was right. Of course, he was right.
Because. Unless you're betting a lot of money and you bet one game, and this is my pick, a la Mr. Wolf back from the old neighborhood, you got to kind of look at these things. So this is a perfect game of 2 + 2. I'm going to bet Philly at money line, 1,400, so I don't have to worry about a 1 or a tie on a 2 I don't worry about none of that. And then I'm going to take the under.
Yeah. Because
if San Fran wins this game and I lose my Philly bet, right? It's in an under game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Philly could explode and win in an over game. So, okay, I split, right? I'm 1-1. 2 + 2 is 4. But if you take Philly in the under, San Fran's not winning in a shootout.
No, or Philly's not going to explode either.
Exactly. So this is I think this game is actually a better bet. So let's take Philly. And let's take the under. And in the other game, we're just going to take.
I'm just taking Cincy in the other game. I'm not messing with the over under. Yeah.
And Cincy's the safest bet there. And you're going to take Cincy. Right now KC's -1, so we'll take them +1.
I'll take the point. If I lose if the game. Yeah, I mean, I just take Cincy's going to win the game.
Yeah. So all you people out there, I think we got 3 good selections and I like it that we're only doing 3 because most people would want to do 4.
Yeah,
you know, but 3's good, and we're going to go with that. Last week you had 2 good locks. I was terrible on the over-unders, but this week I think those are a selection. So one last thing, because I got one thing that I want to do on final sweaty thoughts.
Okay.
So do you have any final sweaty thoughts about anything? It doesn't even have to be football. It could be NBA.
No, my final sweaty thought is if the Lakers can finish the season with AD and LeBron 100% healthy, playing every game in the playoffs, the Lakers will be heard from in the playoffs this year. Okay. They're going to do some damage.
Right. My final sweaty thought is the New York Jets must be blind because the New York Jets just hired Hackett from Denver to be their offensive coordinator. And I'm like, didn't they watch the season in Denver? I mean, it's like those guys just guess who's not going there now? Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's like
but Aaron Rodgers, but Hackett came from Green Bay.
Oh, that's right. But right. But would he go like Hackett? I don't know.
I think Hackett was a terrible head coach, but apparently he's not a bad offensive coordinator. I don't know. And then maybe they're blaming the season on Russell Wilson and not Hackett.
I just think it's amazing. It must be that. But you know what? I think I my final sweaty thought, I might be wrong because maybe the Jets got some insight. Yeah. And if they took Hackett, they'd have a Rodgers chance.
Rodgers will get over there the last 2 years.
See, you know what? That head coach, is he Italian?
No, he's from Iran.
Yeah, same thing.
Or Lebanese or one of those.
Yeah, same thing over in that area. Yeah, so he's smart. They're smart guys. So you know what? The New York Jets, Jets, Jets. You know, so I actually think maybe they made a good move there. At first I saw it, and Stephen A. Smith was like, they're nuts. What are they, crazy? But now you just see, you're better than Stephen A. You actually analyzed it and had a connection, and I'm coming back the other way now.
Yeah,
all right,
that's good. Okay.
All right, so that's it. That's it. Show. All right, so good show, everybody. Old Men and Sweats, go watch, listen to us, follow us, subscribe. You know, at Old Men and Sweats, and remember this always when you watch us and you listen to us. When you see us again, or if you hear about us, we will not try harder next time. So quit asking, right, Tommy? So don't even.
Ask. Yeah, don't even ask.
Yeah, I mean, people.
This is as hard as it's gonna go.
I mean, that's it. All right, so we'll see you next week, sweaties. Stay sweaty, Las Vegas. Tommy, that was good. I hope we go 3-0.
I hope so too, buddy. I think
so. We'll go 3-0.
Well, we had a couple good picks last week. We'll do it again this week. All right.
All right, buddy. All right. Good to see you. We'll talk soon.
Good job. All right, see you, buddy.
All right, adios. I think the New York Jets. The Jets actually, I think, got a good angle here. I didn't even think about the Aaron Rodgers angle. I just thought how bad Hackett was as offensive coordinator. But Tommy T said that, maybe they are blaming on Wilson, but maybe the New York Jets are smarter than anyone thinks. And they've already talked to Aaron Rodgers, a.k.a. John Wick. All right, that's it. Have a great weekend, everybody, watching the NFL championship games. And we'll see you next week, yo. Chico.